Hello, welcome to Solving Linear Equations. We try to make this very simple and we'll go through some very easy steps in progressive difficulty. First, what is a linear equation? A linear equation is an equation where the variable, unknown, occurs to the first power only. Some examples of linear equations are shown here. Notice that x is to the first power, a constant term. Again, an x to the first power on both sides. Here, x is to the first power in a nesting in a grouping. Linear equations can be solved by a simple method. Basically, we get rid of the symbols of grouping, which means get rid of the parentheses. To do this, we use the distributive property to remove all the symbols of grouping. Then we add or subtract to have all the terms containing the variable on one side of the equation and those terms that do not contain the variable on the other side of the equation. We then combine like terms. This is important. And finally, we multiply or divide, but we can never divide by zero. So the variable has a coefficient of 1. Okay. So let's take a simple example. We're going to solve for x, if possible. We'll find out later that that's not always a possibility. Some equations don't have solutions. Let's look at a simple equation, 2x equals 8. We want to get x on one side. There's nothing to add or subtract. There are no symbols of grouping, so we go right to division. We divide by 2 on each side. Notice that since we have two things that are equal, and we do the same thing, we keep them equal. So the answer is x equals 4. As you get more proficient, you might want to skip checking, but for now, it's a good idea. We take the answer, 4, and plug it in for x wherever we see it. So 2 times 4 equals 8. And so 8 equals 8 is obvious. This one checks. Now let's take a different example. Solve for x if possible. X plus 9 equals 5. Here we have remove the 9 from the left-hand side. So the way to do that is subtract 9 from both sides of the equation. 9 minus 9 will be 0. It will go away. 5 minus 9 gives us x equals -4. Again, I recommend that you check -4 plus 9 equals 5, which is 5 equals 5. This one checks again. Now we'll have a little different twist. We're going to solve for x, if possible, where x appears on both sides of the equation. We have 3x plus 5 equals x minus 7. We want to move all the x's to one side, so we're going to subtract this x. So 3x minus x, x minus x. And we'll move the constant the other way. So we're going to subtract 5 from each side. 5 minus 5, -7 minus 5. This ends up with 2x equals -12, which we have to now divide by 2 on each side. And we end up with x equals -6. Again, we want to make sure, so 3 times -6 plus 5 equals -6 minus 7. So that's -13 equals -13. And this one also checks. Oops. Okay, now we have a set of parentheses. Solve for x if possible. 2x plus 4 equals x minus 5. We have to use the distributive property. Using the distributive property, 2x, 2 times x plus 2 times 4 is 2x plus 8 equals x plus 5. Now it's no different than the last one. Usually we end up just getting one step more complex at the most. So here 2x minus x, get rid of this x, go to this side, plus 8 minus 8, because we're moving the 8 the other way. Here we have x minus x plus 5 minus 8. Remember, what we do on one side of the equation must be done to the other. So we end up with x equals -3. Again, we want to make sure. So 2 times -3 plus 4 is -3 plus 5. Let's see if that works out. 2 times 1 equals 2. 2 equals 2. Yes, this one is checked. What happens if we have a negative in front of a set of parentheses? This is a little thing that some students struggle with, others have no problem. The negative in front of the parentheses can be thought of as a -1 times the parentheses. So this is 3x plus 2 equals negative quantity x plus 1. Thinking of that negative sign as a -1, we multiply through by -1 and end up with -x minus 1. The minus 1 comes from the -1 times 1. So we have 3x plus 2 equals -x minus 1. Now we add x to each side. We want to get all the x's on one side. And we subtract 2 from each side. So 3x plus 2 minus 2 is -x plus x minus 1 minus 2. So we end up with 4x equals -3. Checking. 4. I'm sorry. We have to finish divide out by 4. Dividing by 4 on each side gives us x equals -3/4. Now we can check the answer. 3 times -3/4 plus 2 is -9/4 plus 2, which is going to be a -1/4. On the other side, we have a negative sign, a -3/4 plus 1, so it's a -1/4. So -1/4 equals -1/4, and again, everything checks. Sometimes the variable will disappear from both sides of the equation. This is going to mean that we have a special case. We have to examine what's left on each side of the equation. If it's true, all real numbers are solutions. If what is left is false, the equation has no solution. So we'll try this. Solve for x. 4 times the quantity x minus 6 equals 2x plus 2x minus 5. 4x minus 24 equals 4x minus 5. We've used the distributive property and we have combined like terms. Here's where we use the distributive property, and here's where we have combined the like terms. Well, 4x minus 4x that disappears. So we're left with negative 24 equals negative 5. This is a false statement. So there is no solution to the equation. No variable of x will make that statement true. Well, let's change it slightly. 4 times the quantity of x minus 1 equals 2x plus 2x minus 4. We're going through basically the same steps. We break down the symbol of grouping with the distributive property, 4x minus 4, and we combine like terms to get 4x minus 4. Well, we have 4x minus 4 on each side of the equation. If you are clever and look there, you realize that both sides are alike, and you can stop and say all real numbers are solutions. Or you can, some students just follow rules right past where they have to stop, could stop, and subtract the 4x from each side and end up with negative 4 equals negative 4. This is true, so all real numbers are solutions. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have other math videos and even some physics topics.